typical day like for you? I'm sure you wake up, there's probably some amount of work, some amount of cleaning and cooking, some amount of entertainment and rest, but what does a typical day look like for you? Now, just to point out the obvious, you and I no longer live in a world where Jesus Christ walks on the earth. 2,000 years ago, for about 30 years, Jesus lived in communities and he walked and he touched and he talked with people. And our typical day is a day that doesn't have that reality, does it? We don't have Jesus walking in from town to town, but as Christians, we kind of believe something a little bit like that. In fact, as Christians, we believe that even though Jesus Christ's body might not physically be here, we live in a God-soaked world. That's something that Christians believe and they hold on to. We also hold on to this idea that Jesus walks with us and goes with us from place to place and ministers and speaks and guides us. Do you encounter God in your typical day? Where does he fit in to your busyness, your bill paying, and your chores? Sometimes as a pastor I get asked the question, why God doesn't speak, or why specifically somebody will ask why God doesn't speak to them. And very often what I'll do is I'll ask them the question, well, are you listening? In your day, are you making time to hear from God? Are you making time to seek God out? As a quick example, thinking about our days, if you pull your cell phone out, if you have a smartphone, you can go over a slide or two and find out how many hours you are spending on your phone. Take some time right now and look at that. See how many hours a day you are spending looking at social media, doing research, doing Gmail, and sometimes you have to be on your phone. But if you're like me, when you look at how much time and energy and effort you are spending on your phone, that number can be alarming. You might think we're only spending an hour on our phone, and come to find out we're spending 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours looking at our devices. What does that tell you about what you are focused on and what you are listening for? Are you listening in social media, or are you listening in prayer time? Where are you looking for God in the day-to-day? In the Bible, there's the story of Moses. And in part of his journey, he is working in the wilderness in a desert area, and he happens to find a burning bush. This bush is on fire, but it's not being consumed. The leaves are not being swallowed up by the flames. And so Moses approaches this burning bush. And as he gets closer, he realizes that he is on holy ground. That this bush actually is not just some strange phenomenon, but this bush comes with the presence of God. It comes with the holiness of God. This bush speaks and directs Moses' life, and it will never be the same again. Now, as many people have looked and studied and talk about this story, there's some part of it that I find very fascinating. Rabbi Kushner first exposed this to me in one of his books, and he notes that while the burning bush is absolutely amazing, it's also amazing that there's somebody like Moses who can look into the natural world and see God working and doing something. The rabbis sometimes pondered that this burning bush had been burning for a long time, and maybe many people had walked by it, and yet only Moses was the one with eyes to see. Obviously, we don't know who else God had cried out to, but we do know that Moses saw the burning bush and approached it. The rabbis go on to say that there are burning bushes all around us. God is existing in this natural world all around us, waiting for us to discover him. But often we're too busy with work, with chores, with Candy Crush to notice what God is doing. And so if you are one of those people that would love to hear from God, what I would like for you to do is look at your phone. Look at your typical day and see how much time you are dedicating to other things. And could you take a portion of that time and could you dedicate that to listening for God by reading scripture, by doing a quiet time, by getting a devotional, or by pouring your heart out to God in prayer? Could you take a portion of the busyness of your day and devote it to looking for burning bushes, looking for God and listening for where he is directing you into this world? That's my challenge to you, and that's my challenge to me this week. Grace and peace.